Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Bella. Trust me, it's your girl Bella. It's me. I know. It's me. I promise it's me. Today I am going to be doing part 2 of the video that I made on my Instagram. If you haven't checked out my Instagram, my IGTV, be sure to check it out. I'm going to stop touching my hair now. Today we are going to be going in depth into how to be single the right way. So I'm going to be talking about how to be single the healthy way. When I say the right way, I don't necessarily mean there's one way to be single. I mean the healthy way. The way that is healthy for you mentally and otherwise. So yeah, I'm going to stop blabbing on about the title and get into it. Before you watch the video, please be sure to subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel and make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. I'm sure you hear all of us say it all the time, but it helps us know what you like. Without talking too much, because I feel like I'm rambling right now, let's get on to the video. So from where we stopped last time, I decided to go on my social media and ask people for their opinions on what they felt would be amazing advice to give people that were trying to be single. And here is what I have so far. So somebody says, prayer helps for real. And distracting yourself with doing or starting those things you've always wanted to do to better yourself. Try not to stay indoors, go outside and take in the fresh air. Completely agree. If you watched my IGTV, you will remember me talking about my hobbies. That goes in line with doing things that you've always wanted to do. The sad truth of the matter, whether or not you want to accept it, is that sometimes when you're in a relationship, depending on what kind of relationship you're in, you find yourself in situations where there are things that you want to do that you end up not doing, either because your partner doesn't want to do them as well, or because you're too sucked into your relationship to realize that there are things that you want to do as an individual. So yeah, that is one thing. So somebody else says this, and this is especially for the girls, because anyway, by the time I read this, you know why I say especially for the girls. Number one, boys are children, so don't reconsider the same boy ever. There's plenty of fish in the sea, so don't feel like losing a nice person might be a shit move. There's always somebody else. Buy yourself a Pandora ring. It's cheap, it won't turn black quickly, and let it be a promise ring to yourself. I, Annabelle, insert my surname there, so as not to settle for the next available ass boy, or in your case, boy or girl, until at least 1 or 2 months of probation. Now, I think that this is very important because this leads up to a point that I have, which is that it is important that when you're single, you remain single for a duration of time. I remember that I used to be like a serial monogamist, so by the time I'm ending a relationship, there's already somebody I like. There's already somebody that like I'm gearing up mentally to start dating, you get. What I would recommend if you want to be single and you want to be healthy single is not to jump into a new relationship, not even to jump into a situationship, not to jump into talking to somebody really quickly. Take that time, be it a month or 2 months, to just be by yourself and like guard yourself. Kind of take time to spend time with your heart and kind of mend it. For me, I did not open up my heart mentally or otherwise until this June. Like, I actually said to myself, okay, fine, I'm going to start thinking of the possibility of being with somebody else. And that also leads to one of my points, which is go on dates. Like, don't go on a date thinking, oh my God, I must find the love of my life. If I don't find love of my life, I'm wasting my time. Go on a date to get to know people. You never know. You might figure out the things that you like about somebody. You might figure out the things that you don't want in your partner. You might make a new friend. You might have a really bad experience that leads to a really good story. There are so many things that you can gain. It's not just about going out to eat so that you can find out if this is going to be the next love of your life. So I would recommend going out on dates, be you girl, boy, plant, animal. The world continues to change. Even if you've been in a relationship for 2 months, best believe that within that 2 months, the rules for dating have changed. Like, the rules for being in a relationship have changed, and you need to familiarize yourself. What I would say is that if you are going on a date with somebody, make sure that the person is aware of where you are emotionally. Don't lead anybody on, because it's so easy at this point in time to lead someone on. Oh my gosh, said stop pity chatting with your ex. I kind of agree with this. I went through a phase when I first became single where, like, he and I would talk to each other a lot, like a lot, and I felt like it was so normal. Like, I would tell him like I miss him, he would tell me he misses me, and stuff like that. And honestly, it just felt like a band-aid at that point in time, because in reality, do you really miss the person? Do you really want to be back with the person? Like, there's so many questions that go from that. So stop pity texting. Stop pity texting your ex. I think one of the most important things, which I think I haven't actually talked about, is you need to figure out whether or not there is even a potential of you getting back together with this ex. So you have to sit down, be completely honest with yourself, and write things down, because I love to write things down. Write things down. Write the things down that you liked about the person. Write things down that you didn't like. Be realistic and be rational, and think of the possibility of any of these things changing or not changing. Because from the beginning, once you set out to be single, you do have to have a mindset of the type of person you're going to date. And you need to know if it's possible for you to date the same person again. I think that if you're going to be single, you should be single regardless of whether or not you're going to get back together with somebody. And decisions that you're making at that point in time when you're single should be based solely on you and your morality and what is best for you. So this is the period in time that you need to be the most selfish. Last but not least of the things that I have to say is, I think it is important to keep a journal. I started journaling. Let me see if I can find my journal for you guys. I started journaling before my relationship ended. Like, this is from September, and now I'm all the way in, obviously, July. Sometimes they're really short like that. Sometimes they are pretty long with like lists. I think it is important to document how you feel as much as you possibly can. On Monday, the 21st of May, I wrote down exactly what it is I want in a man. I have most likely already shared this on my Wine Wednesday with you guys, but at different points in time, I think it's important to document how you feel. When you're sad, document that you're sad. When you miss him or miss her, document that you miss them. Anything that you feel like you want to say to them, write it down instead of saying it to them, because it is not fair to alter somebody's reality based on what you feel temporarily. Bars. It is not fair that all of a sudden, maybe you're doing great, and then one day you feel like, oh my god, I miss this person. And the person is probably putting in a conscious effort to move on from you. And then you now message them and you're like, oh, I miss you. Meanwhile, in the back of your mind, you know that you just feel like this for this period in time. And you take the person back. That is it for the advice portion of this video. I don't want to start sounding like somebody's mama, you know what I'm saying? So next up, we are going to go into my curious cat. I saw one that is really long that is advice as well. As usual, I'm going to put everything on the screen so that you can read along in case I read too quickly. After breaking up, did you have random sex? No, I did not have random sex. Not because at some point in time it didn't cross my mind. It definitely crossed my mind. But at the end of the day, I'm an introvert to an extent, like when it comes to meeting people, and I'm not willing to share myself with random people. I'm just not. Because there are certain things that for me, and for other people it might be different, but for me, there are certain things that I can't take back. So if there is indeed something that I feel like I want to achieve, I would much rather be the person that goes back to somebody else that I've already done something with, to be honest. If at all that was something that presented itself to me, I would much rather deal with somebody that I've already dealt with before. I wouldn't just like go randomly and start hooking up with random people, because what would be the point of that? First of all, I have to put at this juncture that I don't believe in body counts. Just as a random thing, I feel like I'm too old for somebody to be asking me that kind of question and for me to take them seriously and to even consider being in a relationship with them. Because the truth of the matter is that I don't care about your body count. I don't think they should care about mine. what we should care about is whether or not we are both safe, and whether or not our tests are up to date and all that good stuff. Like I just don't, I've never really understood it. Like when I was younger, I definitely felt like, okay, yes, I used to feel very empowered. But you reach a certain age and you're just like, it's really not that deep. Next question. I've been single for a really long time. Now I want to get into a relationship. I'm not desperate about it and I have not found any prospective person. I'm just trying to be intentional and open. How do I deal with not going overboard with it? This is something that I'm kind of experiencing as well. Where like now, like I told you guys, I'm kind of opening my mind up more and more to being in a relationship. And I think the most important thing about how not to go overboard with this is try to make sure that you're not going too much out of your way to meet somebody. That does not mean that you've not been somewhere before, so you should not go there because it's not be like you're trying to. But don't base your lifestyle around meeting somebody. Keep doing the things that you're doing that make you happy. Keep doing the things that you're doing that make you a better person. It depends on you as well, to be honest. I've never been the girl to get chose. If you guys want me to make a video on dating, like actually dating, let me know. But I've never been the girl to get chose. Like, I'm not the girl that when I go out with my friends, people come up to me. So lots of times when I go out, I have that comfort in my mind and that nobody's going to come up to me. But at the same time, there also comes that anxiety of actually wanting to meet somebody. Do you understand? So it depends on you. If you're the kind of girl that when you go out, people talk to you, then it's probably going to be easier for you. If you're like me and people don't really come up to you, then obviously it's a little more difficult. And what I would say is that make sure that you find yourself in places that reflect the kind of people that you want to be around or the kind of person you would like to date. In the back of your mind, you know that you're doing it because you want to be around like-minded people or people that you want to meet, but at the same time, it is of some benefit to you, if that makes any sense. Make sure that you don't settle, but at the same time, make sure that you don't set your boundaries so high that nobody can attain it. And when I say that, girls especially, you know exactly what I mean. We know when we are intentionally setting up ourselves to fail. We know. So in that regard, be careful with the boundaries that you set for yourself. Make sure that they are high, but not so high that you cannot even jump it by yourself. That being said, you can meet anybody anywhere in reality. There's only so much that we as human beings can control, and this is not one of those things you can control. Being single the right way is one that, first of all, should not be portrayed as something bad, because the notion alone can destroy what could be a blissful relationship. It is a fun and important time of our lives and should be a time when you get to know who you are and who God is. A time you understand yourself and what excites you, what drives you, your dreams, your purpose, your vision. About knowing who God is, I personally believe that if you're going to, if you really want to find yourself, you have to connect with your maker because no one knows you like him. Completely agree. Your mother may be able to tell you your name, but not your purpose. Funny about that, your God knew your name before your mother knew your name. So there's also that. It is also a time you get to find your maker and rest on him as a strong tower. I'm talking about a time when you give yourself the chance to have your heart pieced rightly together by God. No man, no crush, no attachments. This is important. So when you finally get into a relationship, sorry guys, you can have a good one without wearing out your partner by needing him to complete you instead of compliment you. Oh my gosh. Whoever wrote this read my mind. Like, when I read this the first time, I was like, nah, I can't include this in the video because somebody else has already like eloquently put together what it is I want to say. And this is exactly it, guys. I'm going to put it on the screen. Feel free to take a screenshot and read it in your personal time because this is heavy. No one can complete you, and that is why during the period in time when you're on your own, you have to strive for a level of completeness in yourself. And you cannot be looking for things in somebody that you cannot give to yourself. You cannot be looking for things in somebody that only God can give you. A question is, how do you move on in the case where your ex is like your best friend and you don't have many friends due to social anxiety? this kind of hits close to home, not because I didn't have friends, but because my friends, when I was in a relationship, became second tier. So in my mind, like when something happened, the first person I was thinking of telling was my boyfriend, who at that point in time was my best friend. I feel like the best way to move on from a situation like that is to try and turn your own life around by yourself. Try and put yourself out there to a safe extent. Like having social anxiety doesn't mean you can't talk to anybody at all. It just means that in a lot of situations, you just don't like crowded situations. You don't like situations where you're necessarily put on the spot. But be open-minded to meeting one person. Before you know it, you meet one person that is the perfect friend for you. Before you know it, from that one person, you can meet another person. You can meet another person. By the time you know it, you have three really close-knit friends. And have you ever been rejected before? And if you have, how did you overcome it? We've all been rejected. I've been rejected. I've been rejected more than once, actually. And I'm guessing that you mean emotionally rejected. Um, how did I overcome? To be completely honest with you, like being all the way real, I just focused on the people that I felt were interested in me. And I feel like it kind of led to a weird thing that I had for a long period of time where like I only used to allow myself to like people that I knew already liked me. So I never used to be that person that would just meet somebody and then all of a sudden just start liking them. No, it was always a situation where the person had to like me first and then I would now grow to like the person. And I feel like that's why a lot of like all my relationships, except this Moses one, but like my other relationships and even situationships did not last because they obviously liked me significantly more because they are the ones that even initiated the like in the first place. And it was just kind of me trying to always catch up and then realizing later that it's really not for me. I don't know about that. So yeah, but as far as the healthy way to deal with rejection is to reaffirm your importance in your own life, to remind yourself of the things that you're capable of, to remind yourself of how amazing you are, how beautiful you are, your achievements. In fact, you basically have to stroke your own ego. And aside from that, you also have to remind yourself that there are people, like everybody goes through it. And what my friend Claire told me, which I always tell everybody, and I've heard other people say before, is you could be the juiciest peach and there will still be people that do not like peaches. Okay? A lot of things have to do with people acting out on their own insecurities, acting out on how they see themselves, not necessarily on how they see you. So, in actuality, you can't really take it too personal. I've been rejected recently, you guys. I didn't even. That's another story. When I shot my shot with a celebrity and got like shut down. But I think I handled it really well. Every time I see him till now, like on TV or something, I like cringe. But life goes on, really. That's always my thing. Like, my question is, but did you die though? But did you die though? So if you did not die, then I think we're good. Like, you're good. 2 thumbs up. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want me to do more videos like this, I've missed doing videos like this where I'm just talking about a topic and being like, just giving my honest opinion on it. And before I leave, I have to remind you, and I'm so happy that this came after the last question. I need to remind you that you are sugar. Okay? You are spice. Alright? And you are bomb ass what? Bomb ass what? Bomb ass jollof rice, honey. Jollof rice, oh. Jollof rice.